Hey, Brooke, we're live at Resonant Essentials, the group. How are you doing?
Great, thanks. How are you?
I'm just lovely. I'm enjoying the weather. We finally got sunshine here. You must have brought it in from New York. Look at that face. You're smiling, you're happy. It doesn't get any better than that on a Monday.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So you enjoying New Mexico?
Love it. I saw the balloon fiesta yesterday morning. It was really magical.
It really is. It's something to really participate in. So you, because you're going to be here in New Mexico for a few days, weeks, whatever. I don't remember. I'm sure you told me, but all I care about is that you're coming to Resonant Essentials on Wednesday night. I'm going to be teaching this wonderful workshop that I think is very timely, especially before the holidays. So thank you for that. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into hypnotherapy? I mean, I know a lot of people do it, but a lot of people don't do it and really make a living at it. Well, really, in fairness, they kind of don't devote the energy. And when you contacted me, it was like click, 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 everything went into place. And it was just perfected timing. So I'm so excited to have somebody who's coming in and doing this. So how did you decide on hypnotherapy?
Thank you. So my background is behavior analysis. I'm a board certified behavior analyst, a licensed behavior analyst. So I work with people on the spectrum, children and adults, creating behavioral programs, working on social, emotional communication deficits, behavior issues, etc. And hypnosis, I first discovered hypnosis when I had IBS. So I had IBS and I went to GIs, nutritionists, the typical. And the typical therapies were FODMAP diet, which is very restrictive, and pelvic floor therapy, which, as you can guess, is not super comfortable.
Right.
So they were beautiful in a way, but they weren't getting me where I needed to go because I became dependent on them. They became crutches. So I was afraid to eat foods that were not FODMAP foods. I would go shopping with the app and scan every item in Trader Joe's before I bought it. I was afraid to eat out. I never ate out. I didn't eat by other people's homes. I couldn't, your social life gets really impacted. And then when you're on it long enough, you go to a nutritionist and she's like, hey, why are you on it so long? Get off it. I'm like, well, how? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay. So I Google how to get off it. I buy the book, How to Get Off It. And basically it's like, test 3 blackberries, test 5 blackberries. Now, not knowing it at the time, I was programming fear for 3 blackberries. So of course it didn't work. So.
Oh my gosh, that seems like so much.
So exhausting. Oh, I finally threw out the book and Googled away. Oh, so with pelvic floor therapy, I was only able to go to the bathroom on days I went to pelvic floor therapy. Like my body habituated to only go to the bathroom on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So also not sustainable. Both were not sustainable. So in the beginning, it was exciting. Oh, here's something's going to help me. And then it's like, wait, this is not helping me. This is making me dependent on outside sources that are time, money, and exhausting. So I was desperate and no one was giving me other options. I live in New York. You think, oh, New York City, it's the best of the best, right? But
Right.
I knew something with my mind. I said, do you have any groups where we do something? And they're like, no, we don't know anything what you're talking about. I didn't even either know what I was talking about, but I knew something. So I Googled and I found hypnosis for IBS. And I was like, okay, I have no clue what hypnosis is, but I'm going to try anything. So I went, and the woman, the hypnotherapist, she's like, even when you don't realize it, your gut is healing itself. I said, what? I could just tell my gut to heal and it heals? How could it be so simple? And if it's that simple, why doesn't everybody know about it? And why are we doing all these other stuff that are exhausting and don't really work? So I was like really skeptical, like, how does this work? And this hypnotherapist was amazing, but she didn't really give me the background and the education where I was trained and that I do. So when in my workshop or one-on-one sessions, the first part of the first session, it's always background education and visual, and you're going to have the visual at the workshop, and in one-on-one sessions you have that as well. So you really know exactly why and how it works. So it's not like, oh, why does this work? You'll know why. So that's amazing. You're going to get something that
I think that really helps. And that's why I was so excited that you were doing it this way, because, you know, people tend to, if they understand it, will actually capitulate to doing the program.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, yeah, so that's my first opening to hypnosis again. And believe it or not, I still didn't know what hypnosis was. In my head, she was a personalized guided meditation teacher. That's how I saw her, because she didn't tell me what hypnosis really was. And it was working. So I didn't really care, you know? And then it was only later, years later, when I was researching the best schools in the United States of America, and I found Hypnotherapy Academy of America, and it's the highest rigor of research. It's really, in terms of education and hours, and their standards are really, really high. The NIH, the National Institutes of Health, did a study with the protocols of HAA, if we are equal or more effective than medication for overactive bladder. And the results are that we are equal or more effective than medication for overactive bladder. So that makes all the protocols scientifically validated. So that is huge. And for someone whose passion is IBS and medical hypnosis, I really wanted to make sure that these protocols are backed by science and that the training is going to be on the highest level. And I'm really lucky, you know, that I found HAA and that I got the training there, and that I continue to get my continuing education credits through them. And they're super available. Dr. Sapien is amazing. He's a doctor on staff. Any question I have, he's there. So I feel like I'm constantly, you know, staying up and learning and growing and becoming the best hypnotherapist I can be. And it's really beautiful. I'm so grateful that I'm here at this place in my life where not only can I share this gift with others, but I use it for myself all the time, like daily. I'm always doing hypnosis. And hypnosis is really a way of life. It's not a one and done. It's your greatest tool that you have to really to co-create with God or the universe, whatever word is meaningful to you, to create the life of your dreams. And I know that's like a big statement to say, but it's really true and it's really possible. And, you know, I do a simple exercise at times if I'm feeling overwhelmed with different things. I make a list of the things that are bothering me, and then I write the reversals, and then I program my own recording. And then within a day or two, they get results so fast. It's amazing. You could see results so quickly once you get through the resistance, when you're really ready, right? So, but if people have resistance, that's so normal. People have fear of change, sometimes people even have fear of success or fear of being healthy. You know, some people, they hold on to pain as an identity and being sick as an identity, and they don't even realize it. And they say they want to get better, but there's too much resistance to being sick. That's maybe how they got attention when they were younger, or that's how maybe they're connected to a loved one or someone that passed away, right? There's so many deep psychological reasons why someone might be staying sick, even though they say they want to get better. And in hypnosis, we have the power to bring up those scripts to conscious awareness. And then we could amend them. We could let go what we want to let go. We could reinterpret them. And that's huge, because everything in our subconscious is running our programming, if we know it or not. And people are not aware necessarily of all the programming that's running their life. So in hypnosis, you could actually really look at that programming, and you could use your adult reasoning mind to maybe reinterpret events that you program beliefs that don't serve you. And that's really the part.
I love what you're saying. I love the fact that I think that the more we know, the better we can serve our clientele, our world at large, even. And you and I talked about which workshop, because you give quite a few different workshops. And because of the pandemic, and because we're in New Mexico and we were shut down for so long, I had been hearing from a lot of folks that they were really struggling. Some of them had lost relationships within the first 6 months of the pandemic, and they were really interested in trying to get back out there, but you know, they didn't have the confidence in themselves. They were afraid they were going to attract the wrong people. So I said, please do this one, because I think it's really important. I think people need that connection. And And I want to offer to everybody who's listening, if you have any questions for Brooke, I'll be checking in periodically. So you feel free to put them in the comments so that we can get your questions answered. But having this workshop, tell me, because I think it's really powerful when we connect and stay connected, because what I heard it when I saw the title, become the person you want to attract, means that we have to do some internal dialoguing with ourselves, because we may not be all that in a bag of chips. We may not be prepared for the one we really want. So how does that work?
Absolutely. Yeah. So on a couple levels, we need to feel worthy and deserving, right? So if we have any programming that says you're not lovable, you're not worthy, or maybe you were told when you're younger, no one's going to want to marry you. If you get married, you're just going to get divorced. You know, unfortunately, we hear a lot of negative messages for reasons that have nothing to do with us, right? So,
Right.
but if we internalize those messages, if it's really running our programming, so we definitely want to bring it up to conscious awareness and let that go. However, in this workshop, we're not going to be doing the deeper analytical hypnotherapy, because that's really done one-on-one, where we could look at the scripts. So in this workshop, we're doing saturation hypnotherapy. We're going to saturate the subconscious mind with positive thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and images that correspond to your goal. So it's definitely really, really powerful. But again, if you have a lot of negative opposing beliefs to the messages we're going to be programming, you might want to look at analytical hypnotherapy one-on-one sessions to really look at those scripts. So back to, yeah.
I've got a question. Sorry. I wanted to ask, so what if somebody comes to the table, oh, my mommy done me wrong, and they don't get past that brokenness with a parent, let's say. What will this still be a good tool for them to start with?
Absolutely. Because even when we do one-on-one sessions, we never do analytical hypnotherapy in the first session anyway. So look at this as your first session in one-on-one, because we always start with saturation. Yeah, absolutely. Because we want you to get comfortable with hypnosis. We want to see how you respond. So in this workshop, you're going to experience hypnosis once, but in one-on-one sessions, the first session, you experience it 3 times. You get a feel for it. And the third time I teach you how to do it to yourself. So you're like part of the process. It's all about feeling comfortable, realizing that hypnosis is your natural birthright. It is not supernatural. It's your natural state. It is so natural, and it's for everybody. We bust all the myths. The myth that not everyone could be hypnotized is a lie. Everybody could be hypnotized. If somebody is not being hypnotized, it's because they don't want to. So it's not because they can't, it's because they don't want to. So if someone says, I can't be hypnotized, and they tell you a story, you say, well, you didn't want to, right? Yeah, how did you know, right? So it's always, all the control and power is you, not me. You have all the control and power. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and it's your internal process and journey, and I'm just a facilitator. So you have all the power, you have all the control. You get to consent to all suggestions before they are delivered. In one-on-one sessions, we create them all together. You are actually writing them with me. This time, I had to create them for you because I didn't have the chance to meet all of you, but you will consent to them before they are delivered. And if you do not like a suggestion, don't let it in. I'll teach you how to do that. So you have full control, full power. So that's number one. And yes, if you have resistance, let's say during you come to this class and you love it, but you feel like there was some resistance to certain things, that's totally okay. Write them down and see if you want to explore that, either with a regular therapist, with a mentor, or hypnotherapy. There are different ways to explore, things that come up. But take note, that's information. It's just information telling you what you need to get closer to your goal.
So I've been blessed this year with hypnotherapy coming to the center. We had one woman, Lee, she does past life regressions. She'll be back in February. We're going to see if we can get you back. If you come back to Mexico, we'll bring you in again. And we've had Seth, who does some hypnotherapy, healing energy. It's a different, I have to say, I giggled as I could feel the release of things. I was giggling like like I was just a schoolgirl again. It was kind of neat. So I'm really
Aw.
anxious for this one because, I think one of our biggest problems is, I think you're right, the tapes that we were told. But I also think that there's that block, not even just the I'm not good enough, it's how will I ever find somebody? And the law of attraction, I loved this topic because the law of attraction, if you're radiating that which you want, it's going to bring it to your table. So it's not about going hunting.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's attracting, not hunting. You attract. And so back to the law of attraction, there's really a law of correspondence that includes the law of attraction, projection, and transfiguration. I'm going to go through it in depth in the workshop. But basically, the law of correspondence states that your conscious experience of the world corresponds to your subconscious programming, your dominant subconscious thought. So if you have the thought, how am I going to find it? Right?
Right.
That's fear, that's worry, that's not confidence that he exists, right? So then we're going to program some suggestions that I relax in my knowing that, my partner is there and I easily attract him. So we're going to program suggestions that go counter to those thoughts. And remember that, and I'm going to talk about this a lot in the workshop, there's a special technique that I was taught that I love. My professor taught us called cancel. When you have a thought that goes against your goal, you say cancel, and you reverse the sentence. So
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. The reason I'm laughing is because we were sitting around working at the center the other day, and Rosie went, cancel. So, I'm going to ask her if she's had hypnotherapy lately.
That's adorable. I love cancel. And it's amazing. I was doing a workshop and afterwards, family was there and children and parents. And they told me the next day, the whole family was saying cancel all day long. They didn't realize how much negative thoughts they were saying. And it's such a good, behavior, those clickers you click every time you do, to notice how many times, because we don't realize how many times we're programming ourselves with negative programming. So
well, I have, I'm gonna bring this to the attention of one of our practitioners, because I heard her say, oh, no. And I said, no, wait a minute. You have to say yes. You can't keep saying no. You have to say yes. So I want you to repeat that. I want you to repeat the fact that our words have power.
Absolutely.
I've got another friend who's our tarot instructor in-house. She comes in and she white lights everything. So if somebody says something not really polite or a little risque, she's like, white light. She white lights everything. So you're bringing back to consciousness that we all need to be a little more careful of what we're projecting.
Absolutely, because our thoughts are energy, everything's energy. And our law of correspondence states that those thoughts we project out, and then the law of projection, then the law of attraction, we attract it back. And it's a loop. You're only going to attract what you project, and you're only projecting what's in your programming. So if you think about it, you're only seeing what's consistent with your programming. So if you want to attract something new or different, you really have to upgrade your programming to match what you want to attract, because it's that cycle that we're constantly projecting out our programming, attracting it, and it's reinforcing this loop.
So the workshop's an hour and a half. And you really put a reasonable price on there of $50. I mean, because this is life altering. This is wonderful about attracting somebody that you want. I'm going to ask you a question. What if you already have someone and you come into the workshop and you change some of the dynamics, and that person isn't the characteristics you're changing some of your characteristics to match who you want, and it's not the person you're with? Does that happen? Do people change their relationship status because of being with the wrong one after they've gone through one of these workshops?
Well, the question is, why are you attending this workshop? You're only attending if you want to track something new or different. So the thought happened before you attended, right?
Okay, fine. I'll give you that. I'm sitting there thinking, what if somebody is sitting there and maybe they're with somebody and they want to learn how to, maybe they're thinking they need to learn how to be more attractive to their partner and it backfires.
Well, then maybe it's a different workshop.
There you go. We'll talk about that one too next.
Yeah, we could do one for couples who are already in relationships that want to improve their relationship, but that would be, I think, a different, because they already have that person in their life, right?
So what about, how long do the effects work? Because I say effects because I'm thinking that they have to integrate this part of what you're introducing into their consciousness. They have to integrate it. So how long does that integration usually take? How long before they start seeing results?
Absolutely. So for this workshop, they will be getting a worksheet where they're going to make a list of all the traits they want in a partner, and then they're going to rate themselves on that list. So then they're going to have a list of traits that they want to work on in themselves, right? So let's say some things were 10 out of 10, this I'm good. And then let's say there are 6 traits that I want to become better at to really attract my dream partner. So then they're going to be programming one trait at a time until it's mastered. So then at this workshop, I'm going to teach them, help them create a suggestion for that trait. And they're going to program that trait in the workshop on Wednesday. I'm going to leave it open. It was tailor-made that they could stick in that one that they developed together at the workshop. Now, really to see results, again, you need to program your mind morning and night. That's the way I do it. That's the way I'm trained. That's how you're going to get results. It's not a one and done. This is, the brain goes back to what's familiar. So if you want to make changes, you need to make the unfamiliar familiar and the familiar unfamiliar, right? You really are changing your software. You're literally changing your software with so much power. You have to be diligent. You want to be changing your software daily, morning and night, listening to the recording, saying cancel, cancel when you have an opposing thought, really using all your conscious awareness to create this and create this new reality. And then it will get easier with time and become second nature. And before you know it, you're like, wow, I mastered it. So it will happen, but you're definitely an active participant in this process. It's not a passive experience where you're like, okay, do it to me. No one's doing anything to you. You're doing everything to yourself. So you're doing the work and you're going to get the benefits of the work that you put in. So in order to get the most out of this, there's a recording on my site where that matches this workshop. So you can program using the recording morning and night, and the recording comes with the worksheets that are similar to the worksheets at the workshop. For those that are coming to the workshop, you're going to get a special promo code for a big discount because you're already paying for the workshop, and I'll give you that code on Wednesday. For those that are not coming and want to do it, you could check out the recording and use the code ATTRACT20 for 20% off.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. You're such a gift. I can't wait for this whole experience because I think that I'm really anxious to see and have people come in, and I'd like to see everybody happy and partnered up and, you know, being the best that they can possibly be by year's end. I mean, you know, if you're going to do it morning and night, if you're really interested in putting forth that effort, what happens when somebody assumes that they are the perfect match and that they're looking to program others? I know I know what you're saying. There's always somebody that comes into a group who knows everything, right? Yeah, there's always one. I'm trying to put this politely, but they don't see a reason for them to change. Is that a difficult scenario? Should people show up a little more open-minded?
Yeah, I'll give you your money back. Have a nice day.
I'm going to check out some of the and see if we have any questions.
I mean, if you're coming to program somebody else, you're in the wrong place. We're not controlling other people. We're upgrading our own software, so we're attracting what we want. So it's all about individual. Yeah.
Well, I've got here, Harold says, really intriguing, especially our ability to do it for ourselves. And then I don't know what part he said, always yes. He said, Chloe came in, she says, oh, hello, thanks for the interview. Oh, cycles, patterns, yeah, betcha. And Harold said, interesting question. I'm guessing that was my question on what happens when somebody shows up and thinks that it's perfect for them. The ones that don't need the work. I'm asking this because I have run into a couple of people lately that seem to be resistant to change because it's not them, it's somebody else. And it's like, you win. If that's how you're thinking, you can't change that. So I suggested they not come. So
Absolutely, yes. And they just need more time. Time has its way of doing what it needs to do.
absolutely. So we're going to start at 6:30 at the door, but people can pay in advance. They can bring cash to the door. It's $50 for the workshop. 6:30, right?
I think it was 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. I think you're right. I'm pretty sure I messed up. I've had so many schedules that I've put into. I think you're absolutely. I'm gonna look. Yes, it's 6 o'clock, 6 to 7:30 tomorrow night.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night. Oh, I'm telling you, I haven't had a day off in a few weeks. We just put back on board 7 new practitioners. 2 old practitioners are coming back to work, and 5 new ones have joined Resonant Essentials in the last 3 weeks. So I'm a day late and $1 short, so I apologize. Wednesday night, guys, we're going to be working with Brooke. She's amazing. Look at her energy. She's just smiling there. You can see that she practices what she preaches. 6 o'clock, $50 at the door, or they can pay you. There's a link. And how do they get to that link?
hypnosisbrooke.com. Go to workshops and recordings tab and you'll see it there.
There you go. hypnosisbrooke.com. Go to the workshops, click on the link, and you'll see the one that you need to pay her on there if you want to do it online through card. Brooke, it's been delightful. Is there anything, if you had anything else to say, is there anything you would want to let them know in advance, up front? Anything, should they wear comfy clothes?
Absolutely, yes. Are they bringing their own mats or you're providing mats?
Oh, no, they have to bring their own mats. For people who don't do mats, we do have chairs they can sit in. And bring a blanket just in case, because that concrete floor can get a bit cold. So you might want a double layer, big enough blanket to lay and fold. If I lay down, I go to sleep. If I hear talking and I'm laying down, I'm done. So I will be sitting in a chair. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Those that go deep fast, I recommend sitting up. So we could sit against the wall if you want to be supported. And bring a blanket also because your body temperature changes, so you might get cold. So you want to do that. And yeah, the first half of the workshop, you'll be sitting up and it'll be active in terms of, you're going to be writing, etc., filling out the worksheets, looking at the model. And then in the second part, in the hypnosis part, you're still active, but they're lying or sitting and your eyes will be closed. And I will answer any questions, bust all the myths. You will feel very comfortable and know what's going on during the whole time. Remember, you're always conscious during hypnosis. You're always conscious and in control. No one is making you do anything. Well, stage hypnosis is theater. People who make people act like animals are consenting to act like an animal for your enjoyment and their enjoyment. So that's all a myth.
I can act like an animal and do not need to be hypnotized. Thank you very much. Okay, so if you'll come in a bit early, about 5:30, to make sure I've got everything set up, or even 5 o'clock if you want. Should they eat a light meal? These are questions I was getting yesterday. A light meal is good, or no food, or food?
I guess because you're going to be sitting up for the first half an hour, then I guess think about typically how much time you give yourself before you lie down after you eat, and just figure out the timing for yourself, what works for you. I guess a light meal, so you're not hungry. And yeah, and remember, this is for everybody. Anybody who has an emotionalized desire for change, okay? Anyone who has an emotionalized desire for change is invited. So that's all you need.
Okay, so will this work at attracting the better boss?
Absolutely, but I would tailor different suggestions for that. So I would do,
but you can kind of use the premise, so they can contact you once they figured out how this works, and they can go, oh, help me tailor something for the boss, because I need a new boss.
absolutely. I did abundance workshops, attracting aligned friendships, relationships, feeling worthy to be highly compensated for your work. So I definitely do abundance mindset, and attracting. It doesn't have to be a partner, lover. It could be any relationship, friendship. If you want to attract, different kind of colleagues. So yeah, hypnosis could work basically on all topics. It's amazing, from medical, post-op. I work with rotator cuff surgery, to IBD, IBS, to money, prosperity, love, relationships, self-esteem, reducing stress and anxiety. So it's really amazing, the full gamut.
We're so blessed to have you.
Thank
So excited. I can't wait to, we may just try to find a way to keep you. But I know you love New York. Who doesn't love New York?
I love New Mexico too. It's a really charming and magical place. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm so glad you did come. Thank you. Thank you. I will see
My
you.
pleasure. See you all Wednesday night. Lots of love.
See you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.